Hello footy fans, welcome to another episode of the Ultimate AFL Preview Show for 2017. This is the show where I preview every game of every round. Today, I'm previewing round 2 of the 2017 AFL season. Round 1 was a beauty, cannot wait for round 2. Let's get stuck in to previewing the second round. Just like round 1, round 2 will start on Thursday night at the MCG. And Richmond and Collingwood will be kicking us off in the second round. This game will be starting at 7:20 p.m. local time. You can watch all the action on 7 and also Fox Footy. Really looking forward to this game. Of course, Richmond came off round 1 with a win against Carlton in the opening game of season 2017. Collingwood, very interesting round 1 game. They kind of the Dogs kind of dominated the first quarter. They sort of got back in the second quarter, actually hit the front in the third quarter, but the Dogs were just a little bit too strong. So, but there were some signs. They did miss a few shots, and yeah, interesting signs from Collingwood in the opening game, which gives them a really good shot at winning this game against Richmond. But just some facts about these two sides and their history. Of course, Richmond have won 3 of the last 4 meetings with Collingwood. 3 of the last 4 games have actually been won by less than 3 goals, so it's normally a close battle when these two teams meet. So we are possibly in for another cracker on Thursday night. It's no doubt about that. Now, an interesting fact here: if Collingwood lose, it will be the first time since 2005 that they've started the season with 2 straight losses in the first 2 opening rounds of the season. It's an interesting fact, that one, and well, Richmond haven't won 2 in a row since 2013. That's only one time since 1998. So look, a lot of interesting stats there about these two teams. I found it quite hard to tip a winner for this match. I'm going to tip Richmond. I think they were quite impressive on Thursday night. I know it was only against Carlton, and I know we can't really get on the bandwagon too much yet because it was only against Carlton, and we know where Carlton are at this present stage as a club. So, but look, Dustin Martin was fantastic. They probably have a lot more forward presence than what Collingwood do, and that's why I'm going to tip Richmond. I think they are in a really good place to win this game. I think it will be by a narrow margin, though. I'm thinking it will probably be by maybe possibly less than a goal decided. Friday night, this is going to be an epic match at Etihad Stadium, the grand final replay of last year. It is the Western Bulldogs and the Sydney Swans. This game starting at 7:50 p.m. like I mentioned, at Etihad Stadium. You can watch all the action on 7 and Fox Footy. Really looking forward to this match. Of course, they played out an absolute epic in the grand final. Luke Beveridge hasn't actually lost to the Sydney Swans as the Bulldogs coach yet, so he's going in with a really good record against the Swans. However, the Swans have won the last 3 against the Dogs at Etihad Stadium, so they have a good record at the moment when it comes to playing the Dogs at Etihad Stadium. In fact, they have a good record at Etihad Stadium in general because they haven't lost at the venue since 2012. That was their premiership year, of course, and that's actually the last 10 matches. So the last 10 matches at Etihad, they have won all of them. So they have good history at Etihad Stadium, and of course this is the first time for a couple of years now, or a few years at least, that these two sides have met at the stadium. So really looking forward to this match. Of course, the Sydney Swans lost in round 1 to Port Adelaide, and I think they will be really mighty eager to bounce back against the Dogs away from home at Etihad Stadium on Friday night. The Dogs got a win by 14 points against Collingwood on Friday night in round 1, so they're coming off a win. Hard game to tip again, this one. I think it will be a cracker, but I think the Dogs will win by the narrow of margins. And yeah, looking forward to this match. It's going to be a ripping match. Saturday, there are 4 games. It all starts in the afternoon with Hawthorn taking on the Adelaide Crows. This game at the MCG starting at 1:45 p.m. You can watch all the action on Fox Footy. Of course, Hawthorn coming off a loss to Essendon, and the Adelaide Crows coming off a good win to the GWS Giants in round 1. So this is going to be a real beauty game, I reckon. Hawthorn have won the last 7 matches against the Crows, and the Crows haven't won since 2011. So that is a mighty statistic. Can the Crows break that statistic? I'm not quite sure, to be honest. It's a hard game to tip, this one. Of course, both sides played interesting round 1 games, and if you had to go by form, then you'd have to go the Crows, because they have they won on Sunday afternoon in round 1. So I'm going to go the Crows. I'm not sure if I'm 100% sure with this tip because of that statistic, but I'll go the Crows by the narrow of margins. I think they'll win against Hawthorn, and Hawthorn will lose 2 straight. But I wouldn't be surprised if they win this match, and I also, considering they lost round 1 last year and still made the finals, I wouldn't be surprised if they still make the finals this year. Like I said, you can't. Like I said before about Richmond, you can't really jump off the bandwagon yet because it's only round 1. The Saturday twilight game is between the GWS Giants and the Gold Coast Suns. This game at Spotless Stadium starting at 4:35 p.m. Of course, you can watch all the action on Fox Footy. This is going to be an interesting game. Of course, both sides lost in round 1. The Gold Coast Suns actually got smashed by the Lions early until they managed to come back and put themselves in it and only lose by 2 points. So I guess that's credit to them somehow. But I tell you what, if they have a poor first half like they did against the Lions, they are not going to get out of this alive, I don't reckon. The Giants should win pretty comfortably. They would be very disappointed with their round 1 loss. I think they'll bounce back, and I think they'll record a real heavy victory, I reckon. The Gold Coast Suns, I reckon they're in a bit of strife, I reckon. I can't see Rodney Eade keeping his job in the second half of this season. I reckon he might go pretty early, to be honest, and that's sad because he is a good coach, but yeah, I think there's some very tough times for the Gold Coast Suns this year ahead, and the Giants, they should win a comfortable victory here and at their home ground, and bounce back after that poor loss against the Crows in round 1. Saturday night, 2 games. One of them is at the Gabba between the Brisbane Lions and Essendon. This game will start at 6:25 local time. That is 7:25 Eastern time, and you can watch all the action from the Gabba on 7 and also Fox Footy. Really looking forward to this game. I reckon this might be quite a close match, actually. I thought both sides performed pretty well in round 1. The Brisbane Lions kind of lost their touch a little bit in the second half when the Gold Coast Suns came back, but they were pretty strong for 2.5 or even 3/4 at least, and well, they still managed to win the game. So back at home, some statistics here. It'll be the first time since 2010 Lions have won 2 in the first 2 rounds if they win. So that's a very interesting statistic. And Essendon have won 3 of the last 5 against the Lions. Of course, these 2 teams met at Etihad Stadium in a play for who would avoid the wooden spoon. The Brisbane Lions got the better of Essendon last year. I was actually there at that game, and they were too strong for them on the day, and Essendon managed to claim the wooden spoon for 2016. So I think these 2 teams might be a little bit stronger than what they were last year. I think this could be a ripper of a game. And I'm going to tip Essendon, though, just. I think they might just have a little bit more experience, a little bit more power in their squad. But I reckon this might be a good game. Essendon, though, is my tip. And the final game of Saturday in round 2 It is the West Coast Eagles playing St Kilda at their home ground of Domain Stadium. This game starting at 7:40 p.m. Eastern. That is 4:40 p.m. local time up there in Perth. This game, of course, you can watch on Fox Sports 3. It's a bit unlucky that St Kilda are playing the West Coast Eagles in the second round, considering their loss last week. So they could be 0-2 at the end of round 2. I think that will be the case. That is actually my tip. I think St Kilda will lose and the West Coast Eagles will win this game. They were very impressive, the Eagles, in their round 1 match, especially in the second half. Kennedy kicked 7. He might have another good day out, and I do hope that St Kilda do take it up to the West Coast Eagles, and it is a closer game than what people would expect, but the West Coast Eagles should be far too strong at their home ground. The Eagles have won 7 straight against the Saints. West Coast Eagles, my tip for this one. Sunday there are 3 games, and the first one is at Etihad Stadium between the Cats and the Kangaroos, Geelong and North Melbourne. This game starting at 1:10 p.m, and you can watch it on Fox Footy. This is a game that Geelong should win. However, North Melbourne have won 3 of the last 4 against the Cats, so that is a bit of a positive coming into this game. North Melbourne had an okay first half against West Coast Eagles last Sunday in round 1. I thought they took it up to the West Coast Eagles, but their scoring was quite shocking. They scored 13-15, and that was their final score against the West Coast Eagles last week in round 1. So they have a lot of work to do in terms of goal kicking. Jarrad Waite is a perfect example of that. 1-7, that's not good enough at all in a game of footy. You should be putting away those kind of shots. So if he can get going and they can improve their goal scoring, then maybe they might take it up to Geelong. But Geelong had a good win against Fremantle in round 1. They should be far too strong for North Melbourne at Etihad Stadium. The mid-Sunday afternoon game is at the MCG between Melbourne and Carlton. This game will start at 3:20 p.m. and you can watch it on 7 and Fox Sports 3. Carlton have won the last 2 against Melbourne, so they have a little bit of an edge coming into this game. Melbourne had a very impressive win at Etihad Stadium against St Kilda. They broke a drought of 14 straight losses to St Kilda. It was the first time since 2002 that they beat St Kilda at the venue, and they don't win at that venue too often, so they were able to win there. So in saying that, I think Melbourne will win this match. Carlton showed some signs against Richmond on Thursday night in round 1, but I think Melbourne will be far too strong in this mid-Sunday afternoon match. And then the final game of round 2 should be an interesting game between Port Adelaide and Fremantle. This game starting at 4:10 p.m. local time. That is 4:40 p.m. Eastern time. You can watch it. You can watch all the action from Adelaide Oval on Fox Footy. And look, I think Port Adelaide will win this match. They were very impressive on Saturday against the Swans. Take that back to your home ground. Should be very easy to do. And Fremantle, of course, thought they might have taken it up to Geelong a bit more than what they did, but if they did at all, I don't really think they did actually, to be honest. Geelong won pretty convincingly, although they did kick a high score, but yeah, I think Port Adelaide will be far too strong. They could be the surprise packet of 2017, I think. They could be in the top 8. Not a lot of people would have been expecting that going into this season. So Port Adelaide should be too strong for Fremantle in the final game of round 2. And that is it for this episode of the Ultimate AFL Preview Show. Thank you very much for watching. Of course, don't forget to like, comment and share this video. Subscribe. Of course, I also do the Ultimate AFL Wrap-Up Show where I wrap up every game of every round. It'll be back next week to wrap up round 2, which should be another interesting round, just like every other round will be in the 2017 AFL season. Of course, don't forget to check out all my other content on this YouTube channel. I do a fair bit, so I appreciate if you could go check all of that out. Until next week, I'm Jacob. Enjoy this week's matches. Bye for now.